Shall we start? Okay. Hare Krishna. I would like to welcome all the viewers around the world watching this show. So, we are broadcasting from ISKCON Mayapur, which is the headquarters of ISKCON around the world. And we have wonderful guests over here with us. So, we are going to discuss about wars and battles, not exactly in terms of how it happened, etc., but what is the philosophy behind it and why it has happened. And over the period of time, we have seen that our founder Acharya himself lived through two different wars, which was World War One, Two, and so many other wars during his lifetime and after the inception of ISKCON, and of course when Srila Prabhupada also, left for Golok Dham, and so many things have happened since then. And even if we go back in the past, past 500 years since the history of Gaudiya Vaishnavism, we have seen there are so many wars happening around the world. So we are going to have a discussion and try to understand what is the reason behind these wars happening. And you'd like to hear it from our guests, of course. I would be asking questions and they would be answering them. So, moving ahead, I would like to introduce our wonderful guests that we have with us. I'll start with Kripanidhi Prabhu, who is a disciple of Srila Prabhupada. So, Kripanidhi Prabhu was initiated by Srila Prabhupada on June 6, 1972, at the age of 21 in Portland, Oregon, USA. On the direct order of Srila Prabhupada, he traveled and distributed books as brahmachari for the next 11 years. And in November 1977, he was briefly sent to Vrindavan, where he was present during the final pastimes of Srila Prabhupada. He was privileged to dig the samadhi by hand for Srila Prabhupada at the night of November 14th with one other brahmachari. So that was a great fortune. He returned to India in 1983 and served as the president of New Delhi Temple for 6 years. During this time, he opened the first Bhakti Yoga Club in IIT Delhi, the Indian Institute of Technology, with a special focus on synthesis of science and religion. He also lectured and organized programs with ISKCON's Bhaktivedanta Institute with a focus on Vedic apologetics. And he returned to Canada in 1989, where he continued distributing books and preaching on university campuses. So Prabhuji's main focus was, I think, youth preaching. Yeah. And he did that service for the next 30 years. Now he resides in Sridham Mayapur with his family, where he serves Shishi Panchatattva on their altar and manages and hand-to-hand distributes Prabhupada books as well here. Many of the devotees who travel here in Mayapur, they must have seen him. And he takes up other worldwide preaching activities like giving lectures on Zoom, participating in Harinam, and preaches Krishna consciousness to students, and he gives very nice Bhagavatam classes as well. So, welcome Prabhuji. Thank you so much for giving your precious time here.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
And next we have Kaunte Prabhu. Welcome Prabhuji. So, he is actually a doctor. So, he is a PhD in Indo-Vedic psychology, and he has also completed his Bhakti Shastri and Bhakti Vaibhav degree here, somewhere here in Mayapur itself?
Not here, but in ISKCON.
Okay. So he is a disciple of His Holiness Jayapataka Swami Maharaj, and he joined ISKCON in Rome, Italy in the 1980, living in India for past 37 years. And now he's based in Jagannath Puri, right? Or in Jagannath?
Back and forth.
Back and forth, okay. Okay. He has done some very wonderful services. So he is the co-minister of ISKCON Congregation Development Ministry.
I was.
Okay, you were. Okay. And a co-chairman of GBC Organizational Development Committee, a trustee, GBC College of Leadership Development, a member of GBC Strategic Planning Team, a member of GBC Nomination Committee, GBC Representative for Iran, then Special Duty Officer for ISKCON Brazil, member Latin Regional Governing Body, book distributor and a Gurukul teacher as well. At present, so these were his previous services, I think. Now he is serving as a writer and a researcher, a curriculum developer, and a faculty member at GBC College of Leadership and Development. And he is a coordinator for ISKCON Constitution Project and a member of International Board of Directors, which is for Back to Godhead magazine. And he's also the director of ISKCON Community Life, a division of ISKCON Congregational Development Ministry. And he has authored a number of books, which I most probably will put in the description. So if you want, you can go ahead and read more about it. So welcome, Prabhuji. Thank you so much for giving your precious time. Then we also have Adi Guru Prabhu here with us. And Adi Guru Prabhu has joined ISKCON in 1990 at the age of 21 as a brahmachari, and then he got married in 1998. He has one son. And he is preaching services, Harinam, books, and organizing different programs in France and UK. And he owns a business selling incense sticks, which is pureincense.com. And he has served 20 years in expos in London and UK, like yoga shows, and representing our ISKCON Hare Krishna movement there. So welcome, Prabhuji.
Thank you.
So here we'll start with our questions, as I've already shared what the topic is. So I'll start with Kripanidhi Prabhuji here. So the first question I have is, so we see that in the material world there are, in our current times as well, we see that there are multiple wars going on, and even in your lifetime you must have seen there are so many wars going on around the world. So what is the philosophy behind it? Why do these wars happen?
Yeah, they're based on our teachings, especially Srimad Bhagavad Purana, which is the ripened fruit of all the Vedic literatures. There's a direct connection between human behavior in terms of ethics and morality in a broader spectrum than just humans to humans, but humans to our fellow animals and so on. So there's a direct connection between that and what we call the karmic reactions. So it's definitely clearly stated in many of our spiritual masters' purports, and also in Krishna's speech to Arjuna, the Bhagavad Gita, in the 16th chapter. He says, Etam dristam avastabhyan nastalpano pabudaya prabhavanti ugra karmana shayaya jagato hitaha. In that verse, it says that persons of very materialistic and, I would say, unsaintly philosophies and lifestyles and so on, that their civilizations are, bound to encounter a lot of conflict socially, internationally, and so on. So in Srila Prabhupada's purport to that particular verse, he says this is, although this was spoken by Krishna 5,000 years ago on a battlefield, is very, very pertinent in this day and age. The reaction, in other words, the reaction of that we see due to animal slaughter and killing of embryos and so on, human embryos, is a direct reaction to war. Is a direct reaction to these inhumane behaviors of human society. So there's many verses and purports by Srila Prabhupada, commentaries on this particular topic. Yeah. So.
Okay. So when we say that it is because of certain types of activities that as a human race or as a human civilization, that some activities that they undertake, and then as a reaction we get that karma. So if we, this is like a high level understanding. But if we come to a little low level, like how does it translate? Is it something that it translates as human greed, or does it translate as lust for something? Or like when it comes to like low level, like how do we understand that, okay, this behavior is going to lead to this particular type of action?
Well, if we look at the symptoms of what we call spiritual ignorance, then we see, as you're saying, that there are many elements of human beings who are ignorant of their divine nature, or the divine nature of all beings, which is the soul. So the paradigm of the Vedas begins with consciousness and the soul, consciousness being a symptom of the soul. And we're endowed with free will, therefore. So the offshoots of that is humans that are covered by things like greed, lust, misconception of who they are, and then, of course, other corollaries to the kind of egotism of our modern society. Egotism, acquisition, these are the general goals of human beings, values, you might say. It's all coming from a place of ignorance of who I am, a place of false identification or false egoism. And then it really, from there, it just, increases more and more and more into all kinds of negativities and so on. So this is all part of the Vedic philosophy. People are influenced by the lower natures called the Rajaguna, passion, Tamaguna, ignorance. So because of the lack of this education, as Srila Prabhupada said, there's no faculty in universities which are educating us on who I am, what is life, what is consciousness, what is self. And of course, the atheistic, what we call the knowledge elites of modern society at Harvard or Oxford or MIT, these big universities, Cambridge, they're promoting a philosophy of atheism, basically a paradigm based on empiricism and so on. We only see we only accept as real what we see, touch, taste, and smell, and so on. So because of this, there's a huge misinformation being given to young people. The politicians, leaders of society are all following this atheistic model. And as a result, we say, and based on the scripture, the reaction is conflict.
Okay. So here, so Kante Prabhu, my question for you is, when we come to Bhagavad Gita, we see that Krishna is promoting war to Arjuna, right? He's saying that you should fight, right? So how do we differentiate when the wars that are happening or have happened, so many different types of wars in our lifetime or in the previous, say, 2,000, 3,000 years? So how do we differentiate this war that Krishna is convincing Arjun to perform or participate in, than the others that are happening now or have happened in the past?
Yes, an action can be the same action, but depends on the motivation and the context. Might have a completely different karmic picture. Just like, for instance, if a soldier kills in battle, they give him a medal.
Yes.
But if the same soldier goes back home and he kills his neighbor in a fight, then he'll go to jail. And even in some country, he will be even killed. So, some degree of violence, hurting physically other human beings, is inevitable in this world due to the conflict that Prabhu discussed. He explained the roots of this conflict. So there is a gulf of difference when the Pandavas, Yudhishthira Maharaj, Arjuna, and the others were in the battlefield of Kurukshetra, and they were simply demanding their own birthright, which was usurped. I think our listeners and viewers from India know the Mahabharata story, how the Pandavas had the right to the empire in Hastinapur, and then they were tricked and they were exiled. and they were victims. So Krishna tried personally to stop the war. We all know that, at least if you've seen the Mahabharata series.
Yes.
So Krishna did his best in stopping the war, but then there was a party that did not want to listen to Krishna or to reason or to the legal system of the time, the Vedic rules. And therefore, at that time, the war was inevitable. One important, fundamental difference between the Kurukshetra war and the wars that we see nowadays is that at the time there were rules, there were parameters. They were fighting in a separate place. Only warriors were fighting.
Yes.
Their family, children, women, or non-combatants
They were not
not
participating,
influenced.
yeah.
So this is a major thing. Nowadays we see, unfortunately, there is so many indiscriminate
Bombings,
that kill non-combatants.
Civilians die.
Civilians.
And they destroy
So
the
that's
cities and villages.
destroy city, destroy village, and so I mean, so many
Like
other.
a genocide.
Genocide legally is a very technical term, but yeah,
Okay.
at least journalistically, we could say sometimes
Okay.
we do witness an indiscriminate killing
Okay.
of human beings. So that's also a very important difference. So Krishna, even in Kurukshetra, he did not support or promote that type of killing.
Okay.
These were all professional warriors who have chosen to be there, and so so it was a different ball game, really.
Okay. Thank you for adding that perspective. With Adi Guru Prabhu, I would like to ask, like we also see that in the medieval times or even before that, I don't know the recorded history far back to maybe 3,000-4,000 years, but even during the medieval times and even today we see that there are many people who, many religions or some group of people, they claim that we are also fighting for religion. We are also fighting on based on our scriptures. We are killing based on our scriptures. So how do we understand, from right to wrong, that this is wrong, this should not be done? So what is our Vedic perspective or perspective from our scriptures like Bhagavad Gita, Srimad Bhagavatam on this?
Modern history and ancient history are two kind of almost separate things.
Yeah.
And conflict is not really the problem, in the sense that if you go back in ancient times, there was dharmic warfare, and the warriors were happy to go into battle. They were happy to die on the battlefield. There's two types of death that is rare: on the battlefield, fighting religious warfare, or in bhakti yoga. So from both you can attain heavenly planets or the spiritual world. So there's no comparison. Like we said, that it was on the battlefield, not in the cities, not in the towns. No innocents were killed. So this ancient warfare, we can say it's a dharmic warfare, and it's been going on since Treta Yuga, we can say. Because in Satya Yuga, there was only one Varna,